Hey guys, Sloppy Joe here. So I wanted to do a quick follow-up with the Alfa GTV6. And just to back up a little bit, it's an 81 body with an 88 Milano 3.0 Verde engine and a Plenum gearbox in the back. So I wanted to do a quick follow-up. We drove it all summer. It's now mid-October here in Seattle, so it's not going to be driven a lot over the next 4 or 5 months. So that's going to give me an opportunity to do some updates and things that I want to do. Namely, I've got a custom set of wheels coming for it. So these are 15-inch Milano Verde wheels. They're going to be swapped out for a set of 16-inch wheels. I won't tell you what they are. You'll just have to see them when I get them. They're actually due in sometime the next week or two, hopefully. So that'll be one change we do. As far as the paint has held up beautifully. It really shows nice, especially in the sun. I've had no issues with it. I haven't detailed waxed it or anything since I did that in the springtime. Or, yeah, it was springtime, beginning of summer when I did that. A couple other things I've changed. What have I changed? Oh, I had this made. I came up with this idea and had this made. And this is a louvered hood insert. And this replaces the plastic T-tray that would go in this spot. I had a metal fab shop that I do some business with. I had them make that up for me. So it's a stainless steel piece of metal that's been louvered and is powder coated with a similar texture black, so it looks similar to the same texture as the plastic T-tray, but it's powder coated. And I had this made up about 2 months ago, 3 months ago I had this made. And you can see it is louvered. I'll show you underneath. So you can see it is, completely louvered through. And then I also had that it sits on top of, I don't know if you can see it, but it sits on top of a neoprene gasket. Just to get it to the right height to where it just sits just proud of the hood itself. And I think it works. As far as underhood temperatures, I notice when I'm driving, my temperature gauge reads a little lower than it did before. Now I've also ceramic coated the exhaust manifolds are all ceramic coated inside and out, and I'm sure that helps. But I had this made up, and I don't know if any of you Alpha guys are interested in them. I could probably have them. They already have the drawings and everything for them, so I can have them laser cut the stainless piece on a machine and louver it pretty easily, and then it's just going to the powder coater, which I know the guy pretty well, and he'll do them up for me. So if anyone's interested in those, let me know. The other thing that's changed under the hood is the intake plenum is now black as well. That is now powder coated black to match the valve covers. About 2 months ago, the car started developing a very, very hard start, rough idle, loss in power when it was driving. And it basically came down to the fuel injection system just needed some care. So I dismantled the entire fuel injection system. All the injectors came out, all the wiring, the plumbing, the hoses, everything got cleaned up or replaced. So all the injectors got put on a bench and cleaned and flowed, and they're all good. I replaced all the hoses, clamps, cleaned up all the wiring, and put it all back together, and it's running beautifully now. It's just great. The other thing I did while I was at it, threw in a set of Iridium spark plugs and of course some Magna Core wires, and then did a cap and a rotor as well, and replaced the coil just for grins and giggles. Trying to think anything else I've done to it really. I don't think so. I've pretty much left it alone at that point. Now this winter, the plan is I'm going to basically gut all the wiring and plumbing that's under this hood. A lot of it, when they did the motor swap, it was kind of haphazardly put together. It wasn't really done with any care. They just kind of put wires and just shoved them where they could, and that was it, left them alone. So I'm going to try to clean up as much of the wiring as I can, clean up under the hood or in the engine bay area, and we'll try to pretty it up a little bit more. It's already pretty good looking, but you know, I want to make it a little bit better looking. As far as the body goes, the paint, the only things that have really happened, normally on these Alphas, right here would be a seam or a gap in the sheet metal, and I filled them and painted over them, and there's a very fine, very fine hairline crack developing there, and so there's one on the driver's side. It's not cracking on the passenger side, and I did the same up here. There would be a gap running right here, and it's the same thing. There's a very fine hairline crack that's about a quarter of an inch, and the same thing on the passenger side. So I don't think it's that. Those started to crack pretty early on in the summertime, and this car is lowered pretty aggressively, and it is running aftermarket shock, so it is a little bit stiff. So I think a lot of the shock and body roll and a lot of flex is transferred into the body, and so, you know, areas where I would expect it to flex a lot are cracking. But again, I don't think it's anything I'm going to have to address probably for a number of years. Right now, it started cracking, and it hasn't gotten any worse. So I'll just leave it be, and I'm going to probably respray the car anyway in 3 years. The other lesson I learned is, you know, the body shop or the paint supply shop that I bought the paint from, and kind of helped me guide me through this repainting process, because I've never repainted a car. They had told me probably 2 to 3 coats would be enough. I probably should have gone 4 or 5 and spent you know, the extra $100 on paint. So in a couple years, 3 years maybe, I'll just, you know, give the car a scuff and then just repaint it and re-clear it. Because the bodywork, as long as I don't wrap the thing around a pole, the bodywork is perfect. There's no dents or dings anymore. It just, you know, probably needs a little bit thicker coat of paint. Other than that, you know, and I'll show you on my temperature gauge. So I don't know if you can see this. So normally on the temperature gauge, it would be running, the middle number is 175. The normal temperature before I louvered that hood piece, it would run pretty much straight up at the 80 Celsius or 175 Fahrenheit, and now it runs you know, probably a 1/16 of an inch below that. So whatever that translates to, who knows how accurate the gauge is. So I'm figuring it's maybe 5 to 10 degrees cooler under the hood with the louvered hood. So, hey, is that good? You know, that's fine. Hey, any heat you can get out of there, that's great. So we'll take it. The other thing I've done is I've radio deleted my car. So I've gotten rid of the radio console and all that. I don't listen to it. The car sounds so good. Who needs it? And if I do need music, that's what we have iPods for. Trying to think of anything else. No, that's about it. If anyone wanted any updates, the only other thing I did is I put a new rear section in, new rear box and tip. I'm going to address the bumpers also during the winter. I'm going to look at trying my hand at making my own mold for fiberglass bumpers. I don't know how successful I'll be at that. I might put that off till next year, but I want to do something with them. At the very least, I'm going to probably paint the silver, paint it black, and then clean up these plastic pieces, these plastic molded pieces. They're just pretty sun-baked, so I'm going to probably put a nice, probably glaze them, and then paint them with some fresh black paint and just really pretty them up, make them look good and fresh and young. So that is pretty much what we've got. I think the last time I shot this, shot a video of the car was back at the beginning of summer, right after the respray. now that we've lived with it for a few months, it's held up well. Luckily, it hasn't fallen apart on me, and it's just a project in the works. So, if you have any questions or comments, if you have any questions about the louvered hood insert, feel free to post a comment, shoot me an email. If you have any questions about anything I've done to the car or I'm planning on, shoot me an email. Like I said, I've got a nice set of custom wheels coming for it. Depending on how much room they take up, I'm gonna maybe lower the back a little bit, do some different springs. Now we got all kinds of stuff planned for it. Just tackling them one thing at a time. So if you have any questions, comments, feel free to write me. Talk to you guys later.